Hello and welcome to another episode from Yin Dog's podcast. Today, the anxious dog. What is anxiety? Anxiety is a feeling. It is a lack of security and trust. Therefore, we can conclude that an anxious dog does not feel safe and lacks trust. This is important because it's something we can work on. There are different characters. Introverted and extroverted dogs, quiet and loud. Similarly, there are brave and cautious ones. It's entirely possible that your dog is naturally a bit more insecure and simply views the world cautiously. Most dogs, however, have had an experience that is the reason for their anxiety. Anxiety is triggered by an expected or unexpected threat. A bad experience can happen to your dog at any age. Whether he is bitten by other dogs, mistreated by humans, or hit by a car. These are short-term experiences that cause a shock and then remain in memory. We often expect to experience the same thing again in a similar situation, even if nothing happened to us for years before. Other dogs have had bad experiences over a very long period. They were repeatedly abused and are now extremely insecure, constantly expecting the worst. My own dogs are all from animal shelters and are very anxious, in different situations and for various reasons. This means that anxiety is not the same for all dogs, and we should always consider anxious behavior in context. There is never just one solution. Anxiety and trauma in dogs have become my passion. One reason for this is the general approach to dealing with anxious dogs. I was taught to ignore an anxious dog. You must not pet them, you should act as if nothing is wrong. So, I'm supposed to ignore my dog's distress and insecurity and confirm myself as the pack leader this way. In my eyes, this is a complete no-go. I live with a group of feral street dogs for years. Their behavior is original and not influenced by human education. The group structure is subject to a very clear order. Individual dogs take the lead in different situations. There is a female who resolves conflicts. Another one leads the way and secures the surroundings. A male keeps order and is simply the boss. The group appreciates this order very much because everyone knows their place and feels safe because of it. My dogs have very clear body language. There are very clear boundaries, and those who repeatedly ignore them face stress. With family dogs, I have mostly experienced recently that they know neither boundaries nor structure. This is not their fault. It is not typical family dog. These are the dogs that end up in animal shelters because people failed to train them properly, and they have now become a burden. However, I also observed something interesting in my dogs regarding solidarity. When danger threatens, everyone knows their place and what to do. Suddenly, they all stick together. When a threat as a thunderstorm arrives, individual dogs, for example, are allowed to seek shelter in areas that are otherwise not allowed. There are places only the higher-ranking dogs have access to. This can vary. Some places are swept from time to time. When some dogs are extremely scared, they are allowed to stay in areas they normally wouldn't occupy. Dogs that usually keep their distance might lie closer together. What does this tell me? In times of distress, danger, and insecurity, dogs stick together. They don't ignore each other. They seek physical contact because it calms the nerves. The magic word is coherence. Coherence means coordination, synchronization, and connection. There is heart-brain coherence. The heart and brain work together in harmony, creating a balanced state. Heart coherence. The heart rhythm is in harmony with a person's physiological mechanisms, such as heart and lungs. Increased coherency is very helpful in stressful situations. A body is better able to cope with stress and select the necessary resources. An example. You're watching a horror movie with your friend. Your friend finds the movie funny, and you find it just scary. You move closer together because it calms your nerves. Children do this too, by the way. When they become unsure, they seek physical contact. Now, your dog is scared and insecure. He trusts you and sees you as the person who can offer protection when he's afraid. He moves closer to you. And what do? You push him away? Doesn't make sense, does it? If you are sure there is no reason to worry, then your heartbeat and breathing are relaxed. If your dog now moves closer to you, he has the chance to benefit from it. The closer he gets to you, the more likely he is synchronized with your heart breathing rhythm and calm down. If you push him away, he is left on his own. People still like to do this with children today. It is supposed to toughen them up. Actually, these are outdated educational methods. If your dog seeks protection from you, it is exactly what we want. The dog sees us as protectors. If I now send my dog away, I leave him to his fear. The problem is, in this state, the dog can't learn anything. He is in the panic zone. He is at an extremely high stress level and doesn't know how to help himself. In this state, your dog learns nothing. Expect that you cannot protect him, which makes no sense to your dog because dogs would stick together. In the end, this behavior weakens your position. That your dog still obeys you is due to domestication, learned helplessness. He only has you, and our training and education mostly relies on scaring the animal, like leaving them alone, in fear. Or the dog doesn't obey, then there's a leak shock. Keys are thrown, yelling happens. Or the worst of all, the dog is ignored. We call this positive because we are not causing the dog physical pain. What it means for a social being to be dependent and then ignored, one can perhaps imagine. Deprivation of love means certain death. Ask me what is positive about that. Your dog does everything to avoid being ignored. Look on control anxiety. A widespread problem is the stalker among dogs. Your dog follows you everywhere. You can't even shower alone. This is often generalized. Your dog wants to control you. A quick question. When you are out with your dog, does your dog control you every step there too? If your dog wants to control you, shouldn't he show this behavior everywhere and always? But no, outside you suddenly don't exist. Uninteresting? Secondary? At most, the nuisance at the other end of the leash? So, your dog is afraid of losing you at home but not outside? My border collie Tim is extremely anxious and clingy. He doesn't come into the shower with me, but he does come into the bathroom to look where I am. He is also one who sticks to me outside. He doesn't run away, is always recallable, always has an eye on me. And that naturally, I never taught him that. This is an anxious dog. He doesn't want to control me. He's just insecure when he doesn't know where I am. And that's okay. Tim is from Animal Rescue and has been through hell. He is also the one who clings to my father during a thunderstorm, although he is usually afraid of him. I don't push this dog away. Dogs are social beings who just like to know where we are and what we are doing, and if they can join. Something might drop. Your dog lives with you in an apartment, maybe also a garden. If you do something, he simply wants to be part of it. I'm not saying there are no dogs that want to control us, but that's a different topic. Now, you want your dog not to follow you everywhere. That's okay. Sometimes it's annoying. So, you teach your dog to stay in one place, even when you leave the room or apartment. If necessary, you simply tie him up. It's easy. So, There is nothing wrong with teaching the dog to stay alone sometimes, but first it must be clarified why your dog follows you. Is it boredom or fear? And if he's scared, it gets difficult, because you can train your dog to stay in his place. But whether he can lie there calmly and relax during your absence is questionable. Here the problem with the learning zone and the panic zone repeats. Maybe your dog will eventually stay, but if he is extremely stressed, he will not learn anything. He will not gain the positive experience that you come back, because he can't learn or understand anything under extreme stress. It's like pushing a non-swimmer into the water and hoping that out of fear he starts to swim. Most non-swimmers drown. The danger that your dog's separation anxiety will increase is quite high. If you now resort to sedatives, it increases the risk of anxiety aggression. Why do so many packages say that stopping the medication can lead to aggression? Because the dog is kept calm the whole time but is still exposed to fear. The dog is trapped in his own body. The stress is there, the fear is there, but the dog can't react. And when he can suddenly react again, it can even be life-threatening. So what can you do? My dogs have had different experiences and have different characters, so we should consider each case individually. There are small shocks that can have a big impact, and there are several cases of abuse that bring corresponding traumas. What has your dog experienced? What does your dog want from you? It is extremely helpful to understand your dog's communication and see the world from your dog's perspective. Often our dogs tell us what they need from us. When we react with outdated stereotypes, it is usually counterproductive. I cannot offer you a general solution here. Sorry. Far too many factors need to be considered if you want to support your dog. There's also no miracle pill or magic wand. An anxious dog needs a lot of love, patience, and time. Listen to your dog. Be there for your dog. Some wounds heal with time. The more security you can give, the more he will trust you. If you need support, write me a message and join our Ying Dog community. Thank you very much for listening. I wish you a good time with your dog and hope to hear you again. Bye.